Alright guys, so today we're going to learn the proper way to take height in competitive trios during moving zones. I'm going to do a full deep dive analysis for you guys on a trio that came second place in the FNCS semifinals, Leo, Death, and Spike. They ended up winning half of their games, and in 3 of those wins, they took height in such a consistent manner during moving zones, and I was so impressed at their ability to do so. But most of all, I was extremely surprised at how simple these height takes really were. They didn't overcomplicate anything, guys. There's nothing crazy deep in these height takes, okay? It's simple. You see a justifiable reason to take height, you take it. And today we're going to learn the proper methods to actually take height from enemies, but more importantly, why they decide to go for height during these specific timings in moving zones. So let's get into it. They tend to base up elevated in any zone, right? They just like to do this because it gives them way more info on what height looks like. If you're based up like this, or if you're based up deep in here, it is much more difficult to see anything at all. It's much more difficult to gather info, okay? It's really important that you just base up elevated, and that way you can just sort of see the stuff around you, and then when next zone pulls and half pulls, you can see what height looks like, right? And so half pulls over here where I'm looking at, and they just dive and they land on top. The problem, however, is that Death gets low HP. They realize that, like, you know, one of their teammates is low and needs time to heal, and this team, who they have no info on, is going for height. Now the key thing here is that they don't try to contest a height that they have no info on. Like, it wouldn't make a lot of sense just because of the fact that Leo, Spike, and Death don't really have info on Eomzo, Chucky, and Nut, and that is going to be the key reason why they back up, right? They don't have a real reason to take height right now. And when they do end up taking height later on during moving zones, you'll see something really important. They see the reason. Like, it's very obvious to them why they should take height. That is what we're going to dive deep into, okay? Right? They're just spraying teams that are coming in to get some more Surge and just some more potential kills. That's going to be helpful for Surge later on, right? Because Surge right now is going to be in effect. 43 people, first moving is about to start in 16 seconds. Third wave of Surge, which is the moving zone Surge, will be a problem, 100%. Right? And so them looking back to look for those damage / kills, very important. Something really key here that I want to point out to you guys is the fact that they do not have a launch pad right now. They only have 2 peppers, okay? That's their only mobility. That they're limited to 2 peppers. But Leo, being extremely smart and hearing that the fact that there's people under here, right? Twixen, they hear that people are under and they're just not moving. Like, for some reason, their back end of storm zone's literally moving right now, right? It's in effect like that, right? You see that? And now Twixen, for some reason, is not tarping, right? To me, this is clear, and Leo has really good awareness of the fact that Twixen and Redux and his trio are going to pad. They're about to pad. For the fact that they haven't left yet, really late on the rotate, they would have moved if they didn't have a pad, right? So that's very clear to me that they're going to pad. You literally just took a pad for free, and so that's key. And while they're gliding, right, you see Leo right here, and Death and Spike are somewhere gliding in the air, right? You see this happen, right? What are you thinking? You are thinking the fact that, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to take height eventually, right? Maybe not right now. They're pretty ahead right now. But, like, if you give it, like, 10 seconds, these guys are going to be pretty back end of storm, right? They're not going to be ahead. They're going to lose ahead. And that's very key because then Leo and them can land right here, okay? They're going to land right here and then look for it because this is an easy third-party opportunity that you can do if you first establish the fact that you're going to be ahead of zone. Right, so A just gets cracked by Spike, really good damage to put him out of play. And Spike and them are just gonna play slow. Okay, so I want you guys to, I'm gonna put this back to normal speed and watch it unfold. So Twixen and Redux take height, but however, they're very back end of storm. If you notice, Death, Spike, and Leo are all coming up to spray them out. Because this is the perfect opportunity to notice, like, okay, they're distracted because they're 3v3ing on height. This is a perfect opportunity for me to third party, right? And they also have healthy mats. I want you guys to understand this. Look at their mats. 80, 83, 87 builds. Really healthy mats overall. The biggest thing that really gives them height here is the fact that they're ahead. And they use the distraction of the 3v3 that's happening on height to take it from them, right? They're not, the other team won't have awareness of you landing ahead of zone. I want you guys to notice, Death completely gets in a box with Click, gets him down to 190, hits him really hard, and then doesn't overcommit to the kill because he knows his trio's priority is to go for height. So he completely gives up that kill, which is really important because Leo and Spike are on the same page, right? Like, they're going for height, right? So they're all going up for height completely, and Death gets a really important impact here which is to kill Twixen, who's the part of the team that's contesting them. And so killing Twixen here completely secures height for them, right? Death does a really good job of not overcommitting to clicks and giving up that kill 1 point for the height that ends up winning them the game, essentially 20 points, right? He understands what's more important. A lot of amateur players or intermediate players would have went after clicks completely because they hit him really hard, right? Like, hey, I need to go get that kill. But if you realize that the team that you're on is just going for height, you need to be on the same page. Leo's probably calming at this point that he needs help from Degen. Death's ahead of zone, has really good awareness and probably listens to the comm and looks back and helps Leo. And he kills Degen from this angle, right? And that's why it's super important to be on the same page as your team. If Death is looking for frags and just looking down and the comm from Leo comes along and Death just continues looking down, it's not going to be good. Death has really good awareness in terms of like looking back and helping Leo out. And for that reason, Leo is able to survive completely. Look how low he gets. Because the team's working so well together on height, they're able to save each other in that manner. At this point, the height is taken. It's secure, right? And so if we speed up the game at a 2x rate, you'll see that it's just really simple from here. At this point, it's not that hard. It's very easy. I think everyone knows how to play height once you have it and how to defend it at a decent level. The hard part is taking it successfully. This part is the hard part. This section of the game is what you need to learn. Let's talk about the reasons why Death, Leo, and Spike wanted to take height at that specific moment and not in half-half. Like I said, way back here, right? Way back here in half-half, they didn't take height and they gave it up completely and they didn't even hesitate. Like it wasn't even a hard decision, right? Because they didn't have info on the trios that they were fighting. So one of the reasons that Leo's, Death, and Spike took height at this point of the game was because people were both fighting for it, and Leo, Spike, and Death were all the way out here, right? And so they were able to look back and spray and third party the two teams that were contesting height, and that way, since they were ahead as well, they're able to just get them down all really low, waste their mats, waste their HP, and just win height off of that. And that's really key. You want to be able to like notice when the enemy's distracted because they're 3v3 on height. You're padding midair and you notice that 3v3. You land ahead of zone, look back, and they're just still not going to notice you because they're so concerned about their 3v3. The awareness of enemies go down significantly when they're in a fight. And so if you can take advantage of that by landing ahead while that awareness is down, you can take height very well, okay? So really look out for that. Notice when height is fighting because that's your window of time to take it completely. The second reason is the fact that they padded. They actually padded, right? They have more mats than the average mat count of any of the trios in the game. They're very healthy on mats in half-half, and then they stole a pad. The pad should be thought of a way as like, I'm gonna save my mats here. And so if everyone else in the game, like majority of people just tunnel, you're saving a ton of mats and everyone else is going down in mats. So you're gonna be above average. So if someone contests you for height later on, once you have it, no one's gonna have the leverage to really take it unless they find a ton of impact. It's a safe way to do it. Make sure you have a good mat count before you go for it. So the game is really, really simple after this point. There's not much to say after this, and this is not even the focus of our video, right? It's not how to play height, it's how to take height specifically. And height can be played in a way that is safe. People are worried about taking height just because of the fact that like, hey, I'm worried I'm gonna get landed on. Like I'm worried about that fact. Like I'm gonna lose height because like people are just padding everywhere. Just take it later in the game when people used all their pads, right? And then there's less susceptibility to getting landed on. That's the way that you should take it, and I think that's the way that the meta is right now. First moving is the most common launchpad zone, right? Don't take it then. Take it at the end of first moving or during second moving, and then you'll have a really good chance of keeping it for the rest of the game, and you'll win the game as a result.